So I'm Marcos Martinez. I'm an industry advisor, part of the EMEA financial services team, and work mostly with strategic accounts in financial services in the region, helping them to understand how our technology can address specific business problems. So I have been with Microsoft for 4 years now. So yes, that's me. Yeah. So only in the UK, financial crime compliance, it costs the banks around £500,000 per day. So that's around £22,000 per hour. So massive costs. And the complexity arises from a number of new vectors of attack. So since we started as an industry to provide digital services, there is this kind of offset between convenience and digitalization. And it's very difficult to keep these two things because you can offer a very convenient service, but that means that there are new vectors of attack. Now, AI, where it helps, is basically bringing new perspectives on how these attacks may surface. And one of the key distinctions we have to make is between the traditional AI and generative AI, because traditional AI, it's something we have been using as an industry for a long time, and it's mostly based on rules. So we give the logic and let it run and do its thing. The beauty of generative AI is that can really capture trends that are not really obvious to human beings. And it can deal with unstructured data. So it can capture things around voice, images, text, and uncover potential risks that are not so obvious. So I think generative AI, basically with Copilot, ChatGPT, Mistral, all these large language models can really reinvent the way we deal with these challenges in the sector. I think there is a level of experimentation. I think 2023, given the launch of Copilot, ChatGPT, our partnership with OpenAI, led to a lot of curiosity and experimentation. This year, and I think maybe 2025, we'll see a lot of these experiments landing in production, so becoming proper offerings for the market. What we have noticed is that the focus right now for generative AI adoption is mostly on the productivity side. So how can you make financial advisors more productive? People working in the risk function, marketing. So it's pretty much like an internal focus. Now we start to see some use cases around how to surface generative AI capabilities for the front line, so when you're dealing with customers. So I think that's kind of the trajectory going so far. But the key challenge, I think, is around how to interact with this technology. Because for the first time in history, you don't need a data science degree to really get the most from the technology, which is basically prompt engineering, which is a very fancy word to say, just be specific and very well articulate what you need from the model. And that, I think, is where we have the gap, because it takes some time to learn how to communicate. And I think people are starting to notice that maybe that's a new skill. Maybe pretty much like Excel was maybe decades ago, right? When a spreadsheet was something new, and now we just deal with spreadsheets as part of our daily job. So I think it's kind of the same kind of trajectory. I think so. I think we have, so when OpenAI launched the ChatGPT Omni, I think maybe it was like a week or 2 weeks ago, very recently, one of the interesting aspects is the conversational capabilities of the model, which means that if you deploy that to deal with customer queries, it really gives the customer full flexibility to talk about what they want to resolve, what's the problem. Today, with our conventional contact center solutions, you have to follow a very specific and painful script to say, that's my name, my date of birth. And so I think there's a huge capability. Of course, there are regulatory aspects to consider. There are aspects around responsible AI to make sure that responses are fair and without bias. But I think that's something that will become mainstream in the near future, just because it's such a powerful technology. And when you look at the industry side, we really have a bottleneck in terms of how to serve customers. So I can easily remember many times how long it took me for someone to answer the phone, right? So there's a bottleneck in the industry, and I think there's a huge opportunity to really train these models to behave in such a way that really can address simple and complex queries from customers. So I think that's something that's coming over the next few years.